sharing that with you hopefully tomorrow so that you can listen over it again, or if you wanted to share it with any colleagues or friends, then please feel free to do so. Great. Okay, so my name is Lucy Foster and I am facilitating today's session. Dr. Pauline Green will be talking to you in just a few minutes and going through the health and social care programs that we have here, and also we will have plenty of time at the end of the session to answer any questions that you may have. I just wanted to take the opportunity just for the first few minutes just to give you a brief overview about who we are really, because many of you may have been looking on our website, but if you've not had a chance to look out who we are the University of Derby Online Learning, and we are the online distance learning division of the University of Derby. And to put things into context, as the University of Derby, we can trace our heritage all the way back to 1851, so we have been here for a good long while. And if we have any international guests joining us today, then we are located in an area called the Midlands, which is in the UK, and we are pretty much in the centre of the country. We as a university gained status as a university in 1992, and this year, actually it's last year now, in 2017, we celebrated our 25th year anniversary. And we currently as a university have over 34,000 students studying with us, and we employ over 3,000 people, so we are quite a large institution. We would class ourselves as a modern university that provides teaching that's informed by research and is focused on delivering real-world experiential learning. And teaching quality and student experience are at the heart of everything that we do here, both on campus and online. And we were delighted to be awarded gold in the new Teaching Excellence Framework last year, placing us in the top 20% of all UK universities for consistently outstanding teaching and learning outcomes for our students, which is something that we are immensely proud of. And for those of you familiar with the Times Good University Guide, we're also recognised as a top 20 university for our teaching quality, and they also rate us as a top 10 performer for student welfare. So then, in terms of the University of Derby Online Learning, we have been offering online distance learning courses since around about 2001. And the reason we've been doing that is just to give our students the option to choose a more flexible way of studying. So not everybody can come onto campus. We realise that, especially for social health and care professionals who are often working long hours. So online learning gives you the flexibility to be able to fit your studies around your work and your personal commitments. Our online students are from all over the world, representing over 100 different nations, and probably over the last 5-6 years, we've had around 12,000 distance learning students that have studied with us. So we have a vast online course portfolio of undergraduate and postgraduate degrees, together with a growing number of professional development short courses and free courses, which again you may have seen on the website. Many of our courses are accredited by professional organisations, and this means that they're recognised by industry and valued by employers, and these are hugely attractive to many of our students. Across the world, online learning is growing in popularity, and in studying with us here at UDOL, you'd be joining an ever-increasing number of online learners across the globe. And the Distance Education Enrolment Report from last year includes some statistics that you can see on the screen here, and it just shows how popular online learning is. This is based on the United States, and they are a little way ahead of us in terms of online learning. But for example, 30% of all students in higher education in the US are now taking at least one distance course, so it's definitely on the increase. So one of the questions we often get asked from our students is how do we support you? Well, through our vast experience and expertise, we've been able to deliver a virtual campus experience which is enriched with support for you during your studies. Your academic team will provide your tutoring and academic support, and our academics have a really rich wealth of experience and knowledge that is shared with you. We have a team of academics who are based here in Derby, and they're responsible for leading and managing many of our programs, as well as teaching on some of the modules. But we also have a wider team of tutors who are based all over the country that will teach you on specific modules. And this means that they can bring their own experience from industry or practice with relevant case studies to be able to enrich your learning. And another key area of support that we offer is our online learner advisors, and they are there to help you with any non-academic issues, such as advising on study plans or really just giving you any practical help that you may need. Once you've enrolled onto your course, you'll be assigned a named advisor who will be your primary contact throughout your studies. As a student of the university, you're also entitled to support from our Student Wellbeing Service, our Careers and Employment Service, and also our IT support. So there really is a lot of additional support to make sure that you have the best online learning experience as possible. And also, if you're studying a bachelor's degree, a top-up degree, or a postgraduate qualification, you will be invited to attend the University of Derby graduation ceremony in Derby. These currently take place twice a year in July and November, and it's a fantastic day when you can really celebrate your achievements with your friends and your family. And also you have the opportunity to meet your fellow students and also your academics. We tend to put on a reception and invite you and your guests, friends and family to join us for lunch, so that you get a chance to meet people. It's a fantastic day. And really, as I've already mentioned, one of the key attractive features really of online learning is it does give you the ability to study anywhere and anytime on any device. And there's a few quotes on the screen now just from some of our graduates there, but some of the content you'll be able to download, so if you do need to work offline for a while, then you can access it again when it's convenient for you. Okay, so I'm going to hand over now to Dr. Pauline Green, and she will talk to you more specifically about our health and social care courses. During the presentation, if you do have any questions, then if you just use the text chat facility to post any questions, and then we'll make sure that we do cover all of those at the end of the session. So over to you, Pauline.
Right. Hello, my name's Dr. Pauline Green, and I'd like to welcome you to this evening's session. It's really good to have the opportunity to talk to you, and the main areas that I will cover tonight, obviously I'm going to talk about the health and social care programmes that hopefully you would be interested in and go through them in some detail, but overall I'm going to introduce you to the course content. I'd like you to see some of the people that are in the academic team, and I will present an overview for you of what you can expect as an online learning student. So, this is me. I am academic lead for social work and social care. I have a background in social work, but also have followed my interests over the years in practice teaching and in education, and most recently in doctoral research around emotional resilience. So I'm a Doctor of Education. I'm also a social worker, and I'm registered with the Health and Social Care Professions Council. I've been a practice educator for many years, and I'm a very ardent, I suppose that's probably the right expression, committee member of the British Association of Social Workers. So I attend local meetings on a regular basis, and I arrange for guest speakers to present evening seminars and some lunchtime research seminars at the University of Derby. And what I do make sure is that I record those sessions and that material and whatever that guest speaker is talking about, which is always very current, very interesting topics, is then entered into the modules so that the students who are studying with us have the opportunity to listen to what those guest speakers have to say as well. So here's some of the programme team. I'm not going to say too much about them, but they are a very dedicated, passionate, really supportive group of people who want you to succeed. And in the top left-hand corner is Paula Shaw, who's our line manager. She's very interested in all forms of online learning and what makes the online learning experience good. So we're always looking at ways to improve that. My colleague at the top there, Vicky Cockrell, in the middle has a nursing background. She also has a learning disability background. On the right hand side at the top, Danielle Mills. She is a counsellor, very interested in CBT, as is Yasu Katira, who is in the bottom left-hand side. He is doing a lot of research at the moment in our area around mental health, well-being and emotional resilience. And Lucy Hutchinson is in the middle. She's from education. And on the right bottom there is Dr. Christine Rhodes. And Christine has a background of working in refuges, but also around addictions of differing types. So it's nice, I think, just to see who some of those people are that work in the health and social care area and may well be leading modules that you are studying. So what health and social care courses have we got to offer? Well, we have a whole range, and they start, I suppose, from a course which is at level 4, the certificate of credit, the University Diploma in Integrative Health and Social Care. It's on the bottom of the list there, but I'm going to start with that because that is at level 4 and level 5. And we then have a University Advanced Diploma in a specialist area in dementia care for people who are interested, maybe because of their practice area, in studying that at level 6. We have a certificate of credit in health and social care studies at level 5. It's a programme in its own right, but it's just one module, and it's a very, very good starting point for anybody who hasn't studied for a while and wants to bring themselves up to speed in terms of their academic skills. So it's around writing academic assignments, knowing about referencing, etc. So it's a very useful module or programme to take. We then offer a top-up degree, which is a BSc Honours in Integrative Health and Social Care. That's at level 6. Moving on to postgraduate level, we have 2 postgraduate certificates, one in Leadership and Management in Health and Social Care, for anybody who feels that their career will progress by having a postgraduate qualification, and especially in something such as leadership and management, because that's what their employers are looking for. But we also have a postgraduate certificate, again, for those who want to specialise in a particular area of care, and that's in dementia care. It's possible to study on our MSc Integrative Health and Social Care, both of those areas, dementia care and leadership and management, but to move on and actually go to diploma level and exit at that point if that's what people want or students want, but also then to progress to having that full MSc qualification in integrative health and social care too. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about not each of those, but a selection of those courses. The BSc Honours in Integrative Health and Social Care. Who is this suitable for? Well, actually, it's suitable for a whole range of professionals, and this is what we find. Students who come to study on this programme actually are from a whole wide, diverse range of professions, and that's what makes this a really good programme to study, because you're learning from others and from your peers about the practice that they're in and the practice settings and some of those dilemmas, some of those problems, some of those issues that they're dealing with. So some of those I'm just trying to think about, and that list does include many of them, but the types of people who are on the course, and that might include family support workers, people who are in health promotion, probation officers, care home managers, volunteer coordinators, maybe charity workers, youth workers, social workers, a whole range of people. You can complete this programme within a minimum of 12 months, but you do have up to 4 years as well to study it. So it's quite a wide breadth of time there in which you're able to pace yourself and decide how you want to study this programme and what best suits you in terms of the profession you're in and the hours that you work, etc., and maybe the other commitments that you have too. The total cost of the programme is £4,500. And what you will study is shown in that diagram. You will complete 6 20-credit modules, so it's 120 credits in total. There are 3 core modules. The first core module you're likely to study is integrating practices, which is very current at the moment, especially in terms of our new Department of Health and Social Care that was announced yesterday. So yes, you'll study about why, you know, health and social care do need to come together to provide a really good service for service users. But the other core modules are about research, and although you don't undertake a dissertation or a primary piece of research, we certainly prepare you for being able to do research that you can then apply to your practice. So you would study a core module which is called Preparing for Research and Evidence-Based Practice, and then follow that with a core module which is called Research and Evidence in Practice, i.e. being able to apply some of those skills and knowledge that you gained in that initial module within that module. But you have a choice of undertaking 3 different options then, and we have a whole range of optional modules which include things around ethics, leadership and management, mentoring, some specialist areas maybe around cognitive behavioural therapy, sociology and the social landscape, working with vulnerable people, working with distress and disorder, all sorts of different options that hopefully will suit the practice area that you're in, or what you actually want to do for your career and how you want to move forward. We also have master's level studies, so the MSc in Integrative Health and Social Care. It's suited to, again, a whole range of health and social care professionals, and it can be completed within a minimum of 2 years. That would be the minimum, but up to a maximum of 5 years. There is a cost of £7,245. And if you're an international student, it's £7,650. You would complete 2 core modules plus an independent research project and 4 optional modules. Now, the independent research project, and actually I've just been marking that for students and marking that at level 6 as well, and students have done incredibly well. And I think what that's about is the fact that they have the choice to choose something, to research a bit further, to look at the literature, be very current in terms of what's happening in practice and policy, and really, you know, students are very enthusiastic about the subject area that they choose for that. So it's an absolute pleasure to read what students have done, and some of the work that I've seen recently has been quite incredible, really, and students have done very, very well. But again, there's a whole host of optional modules that can be chosen there, very much in line with what you might be doing at master's level and being in practice, where you need to be maybe knowing a lot more about management, leadership, public health, etc. The last programme that I'd like to have a look at, oh no, I've got 2 more, this one and one other. But the PG Cert is worth talking about in a bit more detail, because this is a very popular module, programme. It's popular because it is at postgraduate level, and it tends to suit people who are and have been in their professions for a while. They're degree qualified, and they've decided that, you know, they want to progress further in their career, and it's been said to them that actually they need to have a postgraduate qualification, and if they want to be working in management or in a leadership position, then they need to be doing they need to qualify in that area, and they need to be doing something that's enabling them to study, gain knowledge, and bring that back to practice. So this is something then that's very popular. There's a cost of £2,415 for it. If it's international, it's £2,550. It's studied in a year, so students study one module per trimester, and they're all core modules. So students study an advanced integrative practice module in the first trimester, not necessarily in the first trimester, but in one of the trimesters, and then leadership in health and social care in another, and then management for an integrative health and social care workforce in the last trimester that they study. So yes, it's a very popular programme choice for anybody who has a degree and is wanting to progress in their career. The last programme that I'd like to study and look at in a little bit more detail is something called the Diploma of Higher Education in Health and Social Care. And this is a really good course for anybody who maybe again is at work but has no qualification, wants to study at higher education level, has been told maybe by their employer, it's been mentioned to them that, you know, they need to be doing something alongside their practice. They need to be studying at higher education level, and this is a really good starting point. So students come in at level 4, but it is a level 5 course, so studying level 4 initially over 2 years, and then completing the level 5 in that following 2 years, so 4 in total. It has a total cost of £9,000, and 12 modules are studied in total. So 6 modules, core modules, are studied at level 4, and then 6 modules are studied at level 5. They're modules that are quite general in level 4, so things around study skills, a module called Ways of Knowing, so again bringing people up to speed with what it's like to study at higher education level, knowing how to write different assignments, to studying things maybe around health policy, around understanding physical health conditions, looking at vulnerability, and specialising in other areas around mental health, etc. So when can you study then? How might your study pattern look like? What options do you have? And we are very flexible. So we have a trimester system, which means that there are 3 intakes across the year. You can start studying in September, January or May, and that does give you that additional choice of when you want to start your studies. It means that there are 3 terms, and each term or each trimester is 10 weeks long. So you do know that when you start a module, that module will be 10 weeks long. You will have 10 units of study, each unit being 1 week. And on the 11th week, you will hand in your what we call summative assessment. Each module is normally 20 credits worth, so not necessarily, that's not necessarily always the case. Some modules are maybe 40 credits or more, but on the whole, most modules are worth 20 credits. So students typically study 1 20 credit module per trimester. On some courses, there is the possibility of an accelerated route, but that is something that we do talk to students about in some depth, really, because if students are working, which they normally are, and for most of the programs do have to be working, it can be very difficult to fit in 2 modules at a time whilst having other commitments. But, you know, some students do manage that. It suits them very well. So it's something that we would, through academic counselling, make a decision upon with yourselves. But students can quite nicely cope with one 20 credit module. It's a lovely pace for students to study, and you know, that's something that we would normally recommend, especially to start with. If you're studying a research module, for instance, or an independent study, this can be about 40 credits or 60 credits worth. And so that's typically studied over a longer period of time. So you would normally be completing that instead of it being over one trimester, you would be doing that over 2 or 3 trimesters. What does that 20 credit module equate to? Well, it equates to about 200 hours of study. And the way that we look at that is for you to think about studying for about 20 hours per week. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to be just looking at your materials online and that's your 20 hours. You will actually be doing lots of different things. There are lots of activities, and that will involve you in doing questionnaires, quizzes, reading, being involved in debates and discussions, you know, doing some reflective pieces, writing things in your personal blog, in your personal journals, doing all kinds of things. So that 20 hours per week isn't just about looking at what's in that unit. There are other things that go with that which will make up that 20 hours. You'll also be working, for instance, on your assignments. So, you know, you would want to put some of that hourage away each week to do that. And you'll be communicating with your peers, so, you know, and with your tutor as well. So some of it is discussion time. At the end of the 10-week trimester, you'll submit a piece of work, which is usually graded. Sometimes it's a pass or fail, but on the whole, you will receive a percentage for it, a grade for it. But that work will vary. So if you feel that you're very good, for instance, at written assignments in a kind of essay style, we do have those kind of assessments, but it might be that you need to develop your confidence in being able to do other things and being assessed in other areas. So, you know, we make sure that we're offering you the chance to write a business report, for instance, or taking part in some kind of individual or group presentation online, or maybe doing little patches of work, little pieces of work that then form, you know, quite a large e-portfolio, although it doesn't feel it, because as you're going through the module, you're doing activities which are all adding up to actually that portfolio being almost complete by the time you get to the end of that module. Just to say to you, all pieces of work are put through a system called Turnitin, so we're very keen to make sure that everything you submit you are proud of, it's your achievement and it's your own work. And Turnitin enables you to do that. You can submit your work to it throughout the module, making sure that it is all in your own words, that it is your own work, so that by the time you submit it, you know that there is no evidence of plagiarism. How do we assess you? Well, I have just started talking about that, and you know, if you look at the diagram there, actually it just shows a few more ways that we will assess you. So we will do quizzes, we'll ask you to reflect on, you know, how you've done in that quiz, and we'll debate things with you. So there are group discussions, group debates. We'll present you with case studies, and which relate very much to real life, and we'll ask you to maybe comment on certain things around that case study, what theory applies, maybe how your values apply to that case study, and what skills you might need, how you would take that into practice, etc. So, you know, I think it's something that you would expect. You're doing a university qualification, so there will be assessments, but there are no exams. I don't know whether that's something you'd be happy about or not, but actually we have no exams on our programmes. And each of the assessments really do vary depending on which module you choose in terms of the optional modules, but they'll vary by course and also by module. It may be that the assessments that you're engaged in can be very individual. You know, it's just you and you alone that's doing that piece of work. But sometimes you're doing something that involves your colleagues. And so you're all doing a little bit of it. And your final product actually is a combination of what it is that you've decided to study and do together. So the assessments will test your learning throughout a module. And throughout the module, we have what's called a range of sort of activities or formative assessments. You know, those formative assessments are really important because when you undertake them and engage with them, the knowledge that you produce and what you do will actually help you towards doing really well in that final summative assessment, and it feeling not such a big task actually, because you will have done quite a lot of the work along the way. So just say a little bit more about the assessment process. From a student perspective, there are a number of stages that you take note of that are important to you. I suppose it's almost one of the first things that maybe students look at. You know, they certainly look at the submission date. I'm starting this module on this date. When do I actually have to submit the assignment? How long have I got? Well, you know, that normally is within that 10-week period and then handing in on that 11th week. But you will have an assessment brief, which is a really nice tool for you. It tells you exactly what that assessment is, when it's handed in, what the piece of work is. It breaks that piece of work down into quite fine detail. So it may be, for instance, that if you have to produce a business report, that you're given the headings. You know how that report should look and what needs to go into those headings. So we're very helpful, I think, in that assessment brief, in really providing you with as much detail as we can about what you need to do to meet your learning outcomes and to receive a really good grade for that piece of work. We also point you to the e-submission points, so you know where you need to put your work in. And we advise you throughout the module about the assessment, but we also advise you in what we call a live classroom session, and we have 2 or 3 of those throughout the module. So you have a chance at a given time, and you know when that is, when the date and time is, that you can engage in that session. Your tutor will be there, your peers will be there, and you will have the chance to ask whatever question you want about that assessment, and your tutor will be very keen in those sessions to tell you more about that assessment as well. But throughout the module, there is a discussion board where you have the opportunity to discuss with your peers what that assessment is looking like. And if you're not sure about anything, your peers are often very good people to kind of advise you about research that they've seen or a textbook that they've read and certain chapters, etc., and things that they can tell you about their own practice that might be helpful. So the assessment process when you hand the work in, well, in terms of marking it, we give you a deadline of when we will have that work marked. So you know that in 3 weeks' time, you will be able to receive your feedback and your provisional grade. The grade is always provisional until the external examiner has seen work and until it goes through an assessment board. But hopefully those grades don't change very much. So in 3 weeks' time, you do get your feedback, and you do know that it goes through a very rigorous process of being internally moderated, somebody completely outside of that module actually having a look at the work, a sample of the work, and checking that the first marker has been fair and has provided feedback that's helpful, with feed forward that's helpful for any other assignments that are being that you might be engaged in, and that the external examiner has had a chance to look at a sample of the work too. An important thing for students to be aware of is that, you do need your reading lists. On those reading lists, we have made sure that you have a selection of texts and journal articles and websites. And we have made sure that we have identified at least one or maybe two core texts and also some recommended reading. Although what you will find as you go through the module is that in each unit there will be references attached to the material that you read and you're working on. So there is a lot of reading material. It's nice to know though that you have that reading list and that reading list contains e-resources, which means that when you go into our library you can access e-books and e-journals and they are at hand for you. And we have a really great service called Library Plus, which has made students' life a lot easier. And what that means is that you go into the library, you can put keywords into Library Plus, and when you put those keywords in, it will bring up all the current research journals and articles that may be of use to you. So that's a nice service. Students used to have to go searching for that, but now by putting, and you will get quite good at knowing what those keywords are. Putting keywords in will bring up a lot of material for you. So we also have a really good contact in the library, Jill Boland, who will always be there to help you via email or phone call or appointment to talk to you about something maybe that you want to find on a reading list or journal or whatever. She's quite happy to talk to you, especially around the independent study, actually, the independent project that you might be doing, because it's there that you want to really get some good texts and she can help you with that. What can you expect in your first trimester of study? I suppose that's probably what you're thinking. What's it going to be like? Maybe you've never done online learning before, so what will it be like when I first start studying? Well, I think the thing that you should always remember and think about is that you have a team of academics who really want you to succeed, and I think that's very important. We're from caring professions. We are professionals, so obviously the way we work is very professional, but we also, I think, are very caring and committed, and we want you to succeed. So what we do is we have regular communication with you, and you can expect your tutor to access any module at least 5 times a week. So you're not just given, a load of materials, you just don't go off and there we go, and get on with it. Actually, we are tutoring you through that material. So, you can ask questions, be part of discussions, and that tutor will be there looking at that as well and engaging with that. You'll also have, as I said before, those 2 to 3 live sessions. There will be a whole host of learning activities which we have created that we know are going to be of use to you. So, students might say, well, why are those learning activities there? Well, the reason they're there is because they're helping you to develop your knowledge so that you can do that assignment at the end and actually do very well in it. And we find that students who engage well with those activities do incredibly well at the end in that final summative assessment. The discussion boards will help you to interact with your peers and your tutors, so they're very important to you. I've talked about formative activities, and I have talked to you about that summative assessment, which is graded. So you can expect all of that. You can also expect to study with students who are in all sorts of different professions, some really exciting things that students are doing and practicing in, and they will bring some of those dilemmas, issues, currency, policy, etc. to the module that you're studying on, which is great. We do, however, expect something from you, so it is a two-way process, and of course this only works if you commit to it as well. And the commitment that is required of you is that you do at least 20 hours of study per week, because each module is 200 hours if it's a 20 credit module. So if you split that up into 10 units or 10 weeks, you need to be studying at around sort of 20 hours per week. You'll need to engage regularly with your tutors and with your peers through the learning portal. And there will be announcements and updates and sort of additional resources that we have, which we may have found out about that day and we decide to put on the portal for you. So you need to be looking out for that and engaging with that. And you will need to put personal study in. So there will be extended reading. At the end of every unit, there's some reading, but you're going to find as you go through that you're going to be going into links where you get a chance maybe to have a look at a research article, have a look at some policy, etc., etc. So you will be doing extra things yourself as well to make up that 20 hours. So there is an expectation from you too. So now it's come to the time for questions. I know I've been talking for quite some time, but there is actually quite a lot to present to you. But it would be great to hear from you. Any questions that you have, please feel free now to ask.
That's great. Thanks so much, Pauline. That was an excellent presentation, and I hope that that's been helpful and that answered some of the questions you may have had initially. But as Pauline said, we've certainly got plenty of time left. If you do have anything more specific that you would like to know, then just use the text chat facility and just post in your questions there. Just while you're thinking about that, I think I've just got a couple of slides to finish off on really, which just some people also want to know when term dates are. Our next term is starts at the end of January, so it starts on the 29th of January, and the application deadline for that one is on Sunday, that's the 14th, so we've still got a few days left if you were hoping to apply for that one. Or as Pauline mentioned already, we do also have an intake in May and September. Most of our terms usually start towards the end of the month, and then the application deadline is earlier towards the beginning. So, but you can simply apply online. There's a big orange button on the website. You'd fill in an online application form. That then goes through to our admissions team, who go through everything, review all of the information that you send through, and then they'll be able to come back to you to let you know if your application has been successful. And you don't need to make any payment at the application stage. Once you enroll onto the course, then that's at the stage when you would be able to or be asked to make a payment for the course. And we do have payment plans available which will help you to spread the cost of the course. And then depending on where you're living and what your circumstances are, you might be eligible for student loans, etc. But there is a lot of information about payment plans and payment options that's available on our website. So please do take a look if that's something of interest, or if you would like any more information, then please do get in touch with us about that. Another thing that's also really useful, if you haven't seen it already, on our website, on the online learning section, we have an area which is called the Guide to Online Learning, and that has lots of other information and resources available in there that will just give you a little bit more in-depth knowledge around subject areas or online learning in general, if you would like to take a look at that. And I can see we have had a question through from Kelly. I'd ideally like to finish the degree within a year. Can we start off doing 40 modules, I think you mean 40 credits there, with a view to reduce this if I cannot manage the workload? Pauline.
Okay, is that Kelly that's asked that question? Hi, Kelly. Thank you. It's a really useful question to ask, actually, for anybody who may also feel that they would like to sort of take on that accelerated study. Yes, by all means, if you feel confident that you might be able to do that, and I don't know whether you've ever studied online before, so that might be something to consider as well, actually, because often students would start with one but then actually might progress to two. But it's something that we as academic lead, I'd be more than happy to talk to you about, your previous experience, what it is you're doing at the moment, why it's necessary for you to study at an accelerated pace, and if it is possible, we will arrange that for for you. And like you say, it might be that, you know, you're very confident about doing it, but actually the reality, especially alongside other commitments, might be too difficult. And then you know, revert to just doing one in a trimester the next time. So yes, anything is possible. We're very flexible, but you know, with any kind of accelerated route of study, we do like students to be very aware of what it might feel like and what they would be taking on and engaging in. But yes, yeah, we're open to talking to you about that. Kelly, you can email me. That's always the best, I think. So my email address is p.green1@derby.ac.uk. And what that means is that if you email me tomorrow, I can get in touch with you. I'm more than happy to ring you at a time that suits you on a number that's, you know, best for you, and on whatever day is best for you. And then we can have quite a conversation about it, you know, get more chance to actually talk about the programme that you're interested in more depth. Thanks then, Kelly. Yeah, I look forward to receiving the email then. I'm at work tomorrow, so I'll be looking out for that, and we'll hopefully have a chance to talk tomorrow.
That's great. Thanks, Pauline. Another question here. I'm interested in the MSc Integrative Health and Social Care. However, I would just like to complete the diploma level. Can I please have more info on this and the fees attached to that?
Yes, hi Sharon, that's you asking the question, isn't it? Welcome. Yeah, it's an interesting question as well. And yes, you can just do the diploma. So what you would do is you would exit at diploma level. So on the MSc, you would do a year at postgraduate certificate level, and then you would do a second year, which would be at diploma level, and then you would be able to exit. I'm wondering why it is that you've decided that you would like to do that, because actually you would be so close then to getting that full master's, but I don't know. There's obviously a reason for doing that, and it is possible. You are able to exit.
Just coming back to you in terms of the cost for that, if you were exiting at diploma level, if you're a UK or an EU student, then it would be, I believe I'm correct, £4,830. So each module costs £805 if you're a UK or EU student, or if you are an international student, then it's £850. So it is a tiny bit more. We do. Our payment plans are extremely good, actually. We do have one where you can pay as you go, and it means that you can spread the cost over the 10-week trimester. So when you enroll onto the course, you need to pay 40% of the module cost, and then you pay a further 3 instalments of 20% over that trimester, over that 10-week period. And that's an incredibly popular method for many of our students, especially if they are self-funding. And if you were, again, depending on your circumstances, you may be eligible for a postgraduate loan, but you don't be able to get that if you're doing the full MSc. You wouldn't be able to get it if you were doing a postgraduate certificate or postgraduate diploma. So it might be worth just taking a look at that as well, if that may help you. So, but we can send you some information on that, Sharon, if that would help. So just let us know. Another question's come through from Kelly. I'm having problems making the application where it doesn't go through the application form properly. I think probably the best thing I can do with that, Kelly, is I will ask our sales advisor Maureen to get in contact with you tomorrow, just to talk through what's happening, and she'll be able to advise you what to do there. So I have got your contact details here, so if you're happy for me, I'll pass those on to Maureen tomorrow, and we'll get in touch with you to make sure that we can help you out there. Okay, we've just got a few minutes left, so if there are any other questions, then please do let us know. Have I got any more slides? I think my very last slide here is really just to say, If you do want to contact us for any more information, or if you're watching this recording and you need to come back to us for questions, then you can visit our website. Obviously, there's lots of information about the programs, payment plans, etc. on the website. You can give us a call on our telephone number, or if you want to email us at udollinquiries@derby.ac.uk, we will ensure that you get a speedy response, and we will put you in contact with the right person. And obviously, if you are on social media, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We have lots of videos on there, some from graduation, student testimonials as well. So lots of information on there for you to have a look at and your own time as well. So that's really the formal end of the presentation. So Pauline and I will be here for a few more minutes if you do have any other questions, but thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. I hope you found the webinar helpful, and as I've said, if you do have any more questions, then please do just get in touch with us. But thanks very much.
Okay, bye.